This, of course, is my giant anaconda named Ivy. And this is probably one of the most misrepresented species on the planet. And that's the anaconda. There is so much misinformation about them, it's not even funny. You might remember last week when we disproved that these guys could only hold their breath for 10 minutes. She held it for 49. So it's been 10 minutes and she's probably just got about 20% of the pig down. And here she goes. She finally came up and took a breath. Look at that. Unbelievable. Almost 49 minutes without taking a breath. Ivy is certainly a heavy animal, over 100 pounds. And I tell you what, she could definitely get 200 pounds, even possibly 300 pounds. As a matter of fact, I was in the Dells, Wisconsin at Alligator Alley, and this was a giant anaconda there, and it was almost 300 pounds. Just look at it. Size of that sucker. But on the internet, they actually say anacondas can get 550 pounds. Now that 300 pound anaconda that I ran into at the Dells, literally I couldn't pick up the front half of that animal. There is no way in the world there is any snake on the planet that is 550 pounds. Like I said, 300 is absolutely maxed out. And I can tell you right now, 100 pounds of Ivy is pretty hard to hold. I couldn't even imagine holding a 300 pounder, but there is no doubt, 550 pounds is ridiculous. Now Ivy certainly is a pretty long animal, but believe it or not, she's only about 11 foot long. A really big anaconda might be 17 or 18 foot. But believe it or not, the internet says that these guys can get 29 to 30 foot long. Now, I have one time actually said I would pay a lot of money for a 30-foot snake. I'm here to tell you, guess what? That's right, me, Brian Barczyk, right here is saying if you can bring me a 30-foot snake plus, I will give you $50,000. And believe it or not, there's a website that says that they can get 149 feet. That's right, 149 feet. That is 5 times longer than the 30 foot that I'm willing to pay $50,000 for. So I can honestly tell you there is no anaconda that has ever been over 20 foot. And really over 16, 17 foot is a giant one. It's just crazy that anacondas are so misrepresented. Not all information on the internet is terribly bad. There's actually something on the internet that says that these guys get about 12 inches in diameter. Now, I tell you what, Ivy is pretty thick here, and again, she's going to get quite a bit thicker. Now, diameter is not the length, the circumference of the animal, but is actually the thickness of the animal. Well, the only way we're going to be able to know how big Ivy is to science the hell out of this one. What you do is you actually measure the circumference of the animal, and you actually divide it by pi, 3.14. So let's go ahead and get a string and see what the circumference of her is, and then do some math. So what I'm going to do is try to get one of the thickest spots of her body right here. And of course she's going to be moving, but I'll just go ahead, go right around like this, measure it up, bam, and then I can measure this and divide it by pi. Okay, so that is 19 inches. Let's go ahead and get the calculator out. 19 divided by 3.14 equals. All right, so the diameter of Ivy is about 6 inches, and I expect her to get about twice this size, so I don't think 12 inches is very far off. I think really a giant one might be 14 inches, so in this case, the internet was probably pretty accurate. Since we've been sciencing you guys today with some things, I tell you what, this is pretty cool. Caleb over here actually came to me, I had never heard this before, but if you take fruit and you actually put it in dry ice and then let it thaw out, it turns the fruit carbonated like soda. So let's go ahead and try this grape. Literally, it's like a grape soda.
Is that not crazy? Yeah.
What in the heck is going on?
How did you figure this out?
Noah, did you try?
The apples taste like wine.
The apples taste like wine? Mm-hmm. What is going on? So there you go, guys. You can actually turn your fruit into wine like Jesus.
Yeah.
I think it was water.
Yeah, that's water.
Yeah, that was water, sorry. You can turn your fruit into fizzy fruit with some dry ice.
It does actually taste like wine.
He's gonna have a business.
That's why.
It's really good.
Really?
Wow. I'm blown away, dude. This is crazy. Science is so freaking cool.
Another one that's pretty interesting is the fact that they say anacondas only eat 3 to 4 times a year. Now, I understand the wild. It can be wildly different from in captivity because it's an opportunistic thing, right? They're going to eat when there's actually an opportunity, not when they are being offered food like in captivity. We feed Ivy almost every week, but when we feed her a giant meal, we'll go maybe 2 weeks. So I'd say she gets about 40 to 45 meals per year, somewhere in that range. Certainly a lot more than 3 to 4. And don't get me wrong, they could probably survive on 3 or 4 big meals if they needed to, but probably most likely they're eating somewhere between 10 and 30 times per year, because oftentimes they're going to eat smaller meals. The other thing the internet says is that it takes them 3 to 4 months to digest. Now you guys have seen Ivy eat 25-pound pigs, right? Now in the wild, they may eat a 50-pound capybara or something like that, and it may take them a little bit longer to digest than a 25-pound pig, but within 7 to 10 days, she's completely digested that 25-pound animal. 3 to 4 months, that animal would rot inside of them, and they would probably die from the noxious gases, right? So no matter how big that meal is, it's certainly not going to take 3 or 4 months to digest. It may take a few weeks to digest, and they may even go a few months without eating after they eat a giant meal. But the fact is, it doesn't take 3 to 4 months to digest. There's no doubt about that, and we've proven it with some pretty giant pigs.
Science is so freaking cool.
Now, the last misrepresentation that I've seen on the internet that is kind of crazy is they say that gestation on an anaconda, which basically means how long she's pregnant, is 7 months. Now, it's a little bit misleading in the sense that from the start of breeding to the start of actually having babies, it may actually be about 7 or even 8 months. But from the actual gestation, is which when they are actually pregnant or gravid, is what they call it in snakes, it's probably more like 115 to 130 days. So definitely more like 4 months, not 7 months. But the first few months, 3 to 4 months, is going to be breeding pre-ovulation. So with them saying that it's 7 months is not really accurate, but it's not far off from the standpoint that they are in a breeding mode and then ultimately gravid or pregnant and then having babies about 7 months later. But again, definitely not scientifically correct, because once they become actually gravid or pregnant, it's more like 4 months at the most. So regardless, there's a lot of misinformation, and I think that, to be honest with you, it's just because anacondas are just that legendary animal. They're mystical, they're amazing, they're just so absolutely incredible, and for that reason, there's a lot of information out there on the internet. I hope that I've cleared some of it up. Pretty exciting. Lori, what do we have? Jesus, what's that?
I was gonna burp. I think we're good.
Lori, what do we got?
What?
What do we got?
What do we got?
I was excited.
We got snakes.
I was excited to show you we have our first shed, but Lori's not playing along very well. So what do you got?
Yes, this girl actually just shed the other day.
So this should be our first colubri clutch.
Yeah,
She's definitely loaded up.
Yes.
My gosh, a beautiful high white, black and white calking. And by the way, Lori, I wanted to tell you that hardly anyone in the comments wanted you to pull clutches.
So I know that's a lie, because
Damn it,
somebody.
did you read?
Well, yes, because our fans messaged me, and
Yeah,
then
you guys-
I had to go look and read the
you
comments,
guys-
and I think I got all but one.
I know, you guys betrayed me
You had
on
one
that one.
sourpuss that was like, no, I want to see Brian, but everybody else.
Well, guess what? Now you guys are getting Lori.
But I'm not doing some dumbass egg song.
She's got to do a new egg song. She's got to dance egg song, egg song, egg song.
No.
It's egg time.
I guess that's what you can do. Okay, you do the dancing song, and I'll just do the.
Oh my gosh. So anyways, excited. 7 to 10 days, we'll have a clutch of eggs.
Oh, it's gonna hit the road every day. Could you imagine if we as humans feed this much? Like, you just drank a 20-gallon bucket of water.
Guys, do not tell Jay or Lori that I'm doing this, but it's finally getting warm enough where we have hibiscus trees actually available at the nurseries. And of course, Drogo loves hibiscus. So I actually have him a flower, and they'll be mad that I came in and gave him a treat without their knowledge. But you want some, baby? Oh, there you go. Look it. Do you want it? Oh yeah, he's happy. I'm just trying to win him over, guys. I get so jealous when I see Jay just come and pick him up and walk around with him. Then I try to pick him up and he wants to bite me. So maybe I can just win him over with food, and hibiscus is his absolute favorite. He is loving it. Look at how cute it is. He's got the flower. Oh my gosh, I love having a sloth. But again, don't sell anything to Lori or Jay, because if they found out I did this, they'd be so mad at me. I am fiending for more ball python eggs, but unfortunately we have probably a good 10 days or so. This girl is the next girl that is actually due to lay. She's just a pastel girl. She was bred to a pinstripe, red stripe, yellow belly. So it should be some pretty cool stuff. And then after that, a couple days later, we have like 3 or 4 snakes that are actually due to lay, and they are really bangers. Of course, this one is the GHI Mojave, and it's actually bred to a banana GHI. So there should be some pretty cool stuff. Love that snake. I am super excited about potential for that clutch. There's no doubt about it. And then this one is really cool too. This is actually a mahogany, and a mahogany het for clown, but it's bred to a pastel leopard clown. clowns. So we could get, you know, mahogany, pastel, leopard clowns. It could be really cool. So there's the next 3 clutches that are coming, but unfortunately, they're going to be a week and a half away. Tons of people ask me what happens to the eggs once they're actually laid. Well, they come into this room, which is my walk-in incubator room. And basically, it's a really simple setup. You know, basically, I have 2x6 walls that are insulated. Then I've got 2-inch foam insulation that goes on the ceiling, the walls, everything like that. I just have these shells right here. These are the only clutches of the year so far, just getting rolling. I have an oil-filled heater here that's hooked to a Vivarium Electronics high-power thermostat that basically has a backup on it. So if everything goes well, this stays at 88 to 89 degrees in here. I have a little fan up atop, ceiling fan, that actually just barely circulates the air, and that's it. Literally, from this corner here down to that corner there and all over the place, we only have about a half a degree of fluctuation in temperature in here. So this incubator is perfect for me, and pretty soon the entire incubator is going to be full of eggs. No doubt that anacondas have intrigued me my whole life, and that's why there's so many myths and weird stuff about it. If you enjoyed this video, here's a playlist with a bunch of giant animals that I've messed with over the years. On this side, you can subscribe to this channel. Please hit that subscription button. Turn those post notifications on. Have a wonderful day, Reptile Army. Remember, be kind to someone, and I promise I'll see you tomorrow.